Hey guys, it's Pastor Will. Question for you. Is it possible to change God's mind? Recently, we've been talking about God's omnipresence, which means all-knowing. And all-knowing, the all-knowing God means more than just knowing the things, but that He knows the things behind the things, that He knows how things work. He knows them intimately, relationally, experientially, that His knowledge is outside of time itself. And yet, there are many scripture verses that we can encounter that would seem to negate or seem to argue with the idea that God is all-knowing. In fact, those scriptures tend to suggest that God changes His mind, that He repents, that He relents. And some great examples of that can be found in Genesis and Exodus, like right from the beginning, something like then God remembered Noah. Or a great example is in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where three visitors come and visit Abraham, and they tell him, we're going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And then Abraham musters all this courage to basically try to talk God out of it, to the point where God says, okay, if there's 50 innocent people in Sodom and Gomorrah, I won't destroy it. And Abraham negotiates down to 10. And I mean, you know the rest of the story. God ends up destroying it anyway, but it doesn't end there. Like I said in the book of Exodus, chapter 32, Israel builds this golden calf right after being delivered from the land of Egypt in their bondage. And they go and they build this golden calf while Moses is up on the mountain receiving the law. And so God tells Moses that these stiff-necked people that you just rescued out of Egypt are down at the bottom of the mountain engaged in revelry. And he tells Moses, I'm going to wipe them out. I'm sick of these people already. And I'm going to start over and build a new nation out of you. And instead of Moses saying, hey, I think that's a great idea because I'm a pretty upright guy, he instead begins to intercede for Israel and said, surely you wouldn't do something like that, because if you did, the nations around would just say, hey, this God led his people out of Israel so he could later destroy them. And so he argues with God that doing such thing would be against his character, and God then relents. And so the question stands, if God is all-knowing, which means, he knows all things, past, present, and future, can he change his mind? Well, we're going to talk about that tonight at Renew, and we're going to kind of unpack some of how that scripture really reveals something actually surprising that has nothing to do with, does God know all things? So we'll see you later. We'll see you tonight.